Ryan Reynolds here for, I guess, my 100th Mint commercial. No, don't. No. I mean, honestly, when I started this, I thought I only have to do like 4 of these. I mean, it's unlimited premium wireless for $15 a month. How are there still people paying 2 or 3 times that much? I'm sorry, I shouldn't be victim blaming here. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/save. Whenever you're ready.
$45 upfront payment equivalent to $15 per month. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Taxes and fees extra. Speed slower above 40 gigabytes. See details.
How would you like a 15% discount to my daily email, the stack of stuff, the show notes, discounts to the conference, all of that? All you need to do is text the word show to 33777. You'll get the annual subscription with a 15% discount to my daily email. You'll get the stack of stuff, the links to the show notes, discounts to the conference, and so much more. All you have to do is text the word show, SHOW, to 33777. Text show to 33777.
Welcome to the Eric Erickson Show podcast, Hour 2.
Hello, America. Welcome. It's Eric Erickson here across the fruited plain. The phone number is 877-973-7425. Should you wish to be on the program, I want to comment on a juxtaposition that I find fascinating. So I've got on in my office right now CNN. Now, I have on CNN and not another news network because CNN is the one that I can get here in the office. And what I find interesting is as it has been on for the most part, it has been wall-to-wall coverage about Donald Trump's cases. There's so much more happening in the world, and that is what they are focused on. And that raises all sorts of red flags in my mind about the way the network is headed. The obsession with Trump. There's so much more happening in the world. I want to talk to you about Haiti. Haiti is collapsing. Gangs are taking over. In fact, one of them, Mr. Barbecue or some such is his gang name. Cannibals. It's so funny to me that the number of people in the media who are pushing back on the idea of these cannibal gangs in Haiti. It's actually a thing, but the media's like, oh, all we know is the last evidence was 2 years ago. So you mean you have evidence of cannibalism of these? Well, it might just be a gang tactic, but you don't know. They're trying to downplay this stuff. No, here's the thing you need to understand about Haiti is it is a true third world kleptocratic hellhole filled with a bunch of voodoo and Satanism. And I don't say that lightly. I don't say that for you to roll your eyes at. It is actually true. Now, I know this is true because my church actually funds a missionary project in Haiti, and we have had the pastors from the church come to our church, and it is remarkable. It will make your skin crawl, the stories they tell about the satanic and the voodoo and the shaman and the witch doctors and the stuff they encounter. It is deeply, deeply crazy. Now, I realize there are a bunch of atheists out there who don't believe in this sort of stuff. But I'm telling you, there is evil in the world. And it goes back in my mind to when Paul talks about we're fighting the unseen realm, things that others do not see. We can see these things clearly, and part of the issue in Haiti is the spiritual issue, and it has been going on for hundreds of years. But let's not bring theology into where we can just bring actual facts of what's happening on the ground here. Haiti is a deeply impoverished country that has been run by a series of kleptocratic prime ministers. The nation, the island is divided. And here's what I'm fascinated by. If you go around the world to third world countries, the ones that are the most stable tend to have come from the British Empire. You know, if you take a trip to Jamaica, they put you on buses and they get you to your all-inclusive resort and they tell you, do not leave, you'll be the victim of crime. And that's true. Jamaica is not a fantastic place, but Jamaica is far more stable than Haiti. Go to the Bahamas. or go to Bermuda for that matter. They are developing nations that are fairly politically stable that were controlled by the British Virgin Islands. Another example of this, Kenya in all of Africa, Egypt, which was overseen by the Brits, and Kenya, some of the most stable countries in Africa. India, it's got its problems, but a fairly stable country. Now, let's do the Spanish and the French. The French and the German and the Belgian colonial territories actually are the most unstable. And when you find third world kleptocratic regimes on the verge of collapse and full of poverty and all sorts of problems, when you realize who their imperial overlord used to be, you kind of get it. The island, Haiti is on an island in the Caribbean, and it shares the landmass of the island of Hispaniola with the Dominican Republic. France and Spain fought over the island of Hispaniola, and the Spanish had developed 2/3 of the island. The French took over the western third of the island, and it was a slaver's paradise filled with pirates and slaves and French. And there were about 10,000 freed white Europeans and North Americans and 700,000 slaves, and they revolted. And they were an island that was not Christianized. There was a lot of voodoo. Christian missionaries were coming, but there was a lot of voodoo, a lot of Western African tribal religions that had swept through that third of the island of Hispaniola that stayed, that were blended together, were modified in various ways. And it was not westernized, and the French largely gave up on it. The Spanish had given up on it. The Spanish poured their resources into the eastern 2/3 of the island, which you know is the Dominican Republic, and where it has its problems, and it has crime, and it has some political instability, but it is far more stable than the third that's known as Haiti. You can go to Punta Cana. You can stay in a nice resort in the Dominican Republic. I know people who go fairly regularly. Haiti has always had problems. Political problems, theological problems, spiritual problems, social problems. The Haitians intended to govern themselves and have never governed themselves well. You know, I forget who was it Ben Franklin, John Adams? I can't remember who said. It was Winston Churchill. Winston Churchill, who said democracy is the worst form of government except for all the others. The Haitian experience in democracy and self-rule constantly has descended into strong men. They had a king of their own at one time. He didn't last. They need something. I'm actually a big, I got to tell you can call me a neocon, but Haiti is one of those nations that we should just go in, guns blazing, kill the gangs, and impose our iron will. Or someone should. Haiti has been impoverished and poor, and it has everything to do with the history of the country. It's kind of sad, actually. If you've ever met Haitians, they're wonderful, delightful people, but a lot of them are fleeing. Now, so here's the setup. They're fleeing. They're trying to get out of there as quickly as they can. A lot of them are on boats headed to Miami. Ron DeSantis has scrambled the Coast Guard and his National Guard fleet to stop them. This is from Bloomberg. Florida's Governor Ron DeSantis deploying 250 law enforcement officers and an air and sea fleet to Florida's southern waters to help curb a potential wave of Haitian immigrants. Haiti has spiraled after weeks of chaos and violence. Gangs control 80% of the capital and large swaths of the countryside, forcing tens of thousands of people from their homes. Prime Minister Ariel Henry stepped down on Tuesday to make way for a transitional government. The U.S. is evacuating people. The U.S. is trying to steer the refugees to Guantanamo Bay. So the Haitian prime minister fled the country, leaving the minister of finance in charge. He's now fled. They don't have enough members in the judiciary to do anything. The government has collapsed in Haiti, and the gangs are overtaking, and the gangs blend in voodoo, spiritual religions, the syncretism with Catholicism. It's a very weird situation in Haiti. And the gangs are, the government has collapsed. The gangs have taken over. The gangs are now fighting each other for supremacy, and it is a survival of the fittest moment. The American government is expecting a mass flight of Haitians trying to flee the violence. When Bill Clinton was president, we actually had to send the military into Haiti to impose law and order. We are taking a kind of step back approach right now, and I don't think we should. And here's the reason I don't think we should. And this isn't the neocon warmonger in me. This is the American in me who believes in the Monroe Doctrine. Kenya, among others, is trying to lead a multilateral force to go into Haiti and reimpose law and order. I think we should do it because they're in the Western Hemisphere. And do you know the closest sovereign nation to Haiti other than the Dominican Republic? This is why I think we need to send our soldiers. What is the closest sovereign nation to Haiti after the Dominican Republic, on which it shares the island? Cuba. The Cubans would love to go into Haiti and impose a communist regime. South of Haiti is Venezuela. Venezuela and Cuba working together could undermine our interests in our own backyard. Working with China, they could really do it. The United States actually has a vested geopolitical interest in going into Haiti, given its location. It's very close to Guantanamo Bay. It's very close to Florida. It has descended into chaos. Someone is going to impose their will there. Will it be a gangland slaying of the gangs, battling it out for survival of the fittest, in which one gang reigns supreme, and then we've got to negotiate with a cannibalistic gang leader who's into voodoo and loves the communists? We should be going in there. We should. I know there's no appetite for it. Look, I used to tell candidates all the time, know when you're in the minority, even when you think you're right. I really think I'm right here, and I really do think I'm probably in the minority of Americans who do not want our government engaged, but this literally is our backyard, and the closest nation to them is a communist dictatorship that has very close ties with China and is looking for ways to insert China more into the Western Hemisphere. We should be engaged in Haiti just to keep the Chinese from being engaged in Haiti. The Chinese would love to help out imposing law and order in Haiti, and that would be against our national interest. Can you imagine the Chinese being able to station warships in Haiti? This is not a fear scenario. This is a very real-world possibility, and our government is asleep at the switch. The Biden administration right now dropping the ball on this. The Monroe Doctrine needs to be revitalized. Joe Biden has no use for the Monroe Doctrine because he actually thinks that the United States leading the world is a bad thing. Actually, the United States leading the world is a very good thing, and I would far rather the United States be in charge of the world order than the Chinese. If we don't fill the vacuum, some other government will. And it's going to happen in places like Haiti, where the government has collapsed, the governmental leaders have fled, the gangs have taken over, the country has descended into violence and some cannibalism, among other things. We have a real national security interest here. But of course, with Joe Biden, American national security tends to be in places where the U.S. really doesn't need to be, and never in places where the U.S. should be. Haiti has descended to lawlessness and gang violence, and it's deeply ironic and hilarious that it looks like the Kenyans are the ones who want to sort things out when they're right here, ripe for us to make sure we have a stable country that close to Guantanamo Bay in Cuba. But Joe Biden, God bless him, he's far more interested in everywhere but our own backyard. Hello there. Welcome. It is Eric Erickson here. The phone number 877-973-7425. Let's go to the phones here. Vinny, you're going to be up next. Welcome. Vinny, you there?
Yes, sir. Hey, Eric, let me turn the radio down a little bit here for you. Okay, I'm calling. I got a couple of things. First off, I love your show.
Thank you.
Most-
Hey, by the
most
way,
foremost.
before you begin, and I'm sorry to distract you, so where exactly is Boiling Springs, South Carolina?
Okay, that's in Spartanburg County.
Okay. Oh, okay. I got it on the. All right. I'm pulling it up. Have not been there.
Minneapolis
Okay.
State. Very nice area. You'd love to come. Anyhow, I got a couple of things. First off and foremost, I want to thank the Democratic Party for finally showing their true colors into my eyes back in 2020. I burnt my card. I'm no longer a Democrat, thanks to you guys bringing out the truth and not following the lies like a lot of people do. Anyways, Chuck Schumer and what he said about anybody with any common sense, Hamas is a bunch of murderers. They came in, and I can't believe all this money that's being supplied to them. Everything. I'm so outraged. I'm a veteran. It's crazy. I can't believe how he's putting it across and supporting these people. And not even the loss, the atrocities that were done during that time. I've never seen any. I'm 64 years old. I've never seen anything like this. That's on the Chuck Schumer. Two, the Haitians. I grew up in South Florida in Miami, South Miami. I grew up during the Mario boat lift when that was put into effect, where the dry foot, wet foot policy came into effect. There are a lot of Christians, a lot of faithful Catholics in the Haitian community. Yes, everything you have said about Haiti and the Haitians are correct. I, as a retired paramedic, worked down there in Miami as well. I've seen these Sanderista, setups when you walk into their homes. Chicken feet in a bowl, in a glass bowl with blood in it, and the Cubans have the same type of Sanderista as well. Let's not forget about that. The difference between the two, the Cubans are more educated. Not to say that the Haitians aren't that educated, but there's quite a few educated. I worked with a Haitian nurse, Marie Jean-Pierre. What a beautiful woman she is, a very smart woman. She saved many lives in my witness eyes. And she didn't look at color of skin or anything like that. We don't look at color of skin. We look at the life. So as a Catholic, as Christian, I pray for all of us, Eric.
Well, Vinny, look, I appreciate that sentiment. Yeah, we got to do something there. I got to let you go here. And thank you very much for the kind words. I appreciate it. And your infuriation with Chuck Schumer, you and me both. I can't believe that he did that on the floor of the Senate to Israel of all groups. But thank you for that. And I'm going to have to check out Boiling Springs next time I get up to Greenville. Now, I got to tell you guys about the Eden Pure Thunderstorm. It's one of my favorite products. I literally travel with this thing everywhere I go. In fact, I've been spot checked in the airport one time by guys. I said, I don't really believe you. There it was. My Eden Pure Thunderstorm. You can get 3 of them for less than $200 at EdenPureDeals.com. It's an air purifier, so it gets rid of the dust. And this time of year, my gosh, the pollen is everywhere. Traps it all, and it's electrostatic. You don't have to get a filter subscription. You just wipe it out on occasion. But where I use it, where it really shines, is an air purifier. I've stayed in hotels that had Eden Pure Thunderstorms. In fact, Barnsley Resort, I love it. I got to go visit them. The last time I was there, they had one running in my room because they had fireplaces, and it wipes out smoky odors. It wipes out litter box odors, pet odors, cooking odors. You got a stinky fireplace or someone smoked in your rental car, it wipes them out. You can plug it in with a USB cord or plug it into the wall, and it just works. You can get 3 of them, one for upstairs, downstairs, your basement, your travel bag, your RV, whatever you need them for less than $200. You go to EdenPureDeals.com. There's a discount code box. You put in ERIC3, ERICK, and the number 3, ERIC3, at EdenPureDeals.com. And you, my friends, can get on your way to cleaner air with the Eden Pure Thunderstorm. Hello there. Welcome. It is Eric Erickson here. The phone number is 877-973-7425. Should you wish to be on the program, and we got a call that I am very much looking forward to taking right now from Shirley. Shirley, welcome to the Eric Erickson Show. How are you?
Hey, Eric. I enjoy listening to your show. You're very factual most of the time, 99% of the time. But I had something that I wanted to share with you. And are you ready for this?
Sure.
Okay. I'm 88 years old, so I may stop once in a while and try to remember a name or something. My uncle Ben Scott, was Minister of Finance in Haiti back when Haiti was a province, I guess, of America, and he lived there in the 1920s and into the 1930s. I can't give you factual numbers on that, but I know it was back in the 20s and possibly into the 30s. He lived there. He made sure his wife and son did not live there because there was even fear back in those days. When my Uncle Ben died in a nursing home, his fears were that the Haitians were coming after him. He had these horrible dreams, and this was something that carried on with him into his latter years. So that's my perspective on that part of it. I have another perspective. Would you like to hear that? Or
Sure.
do you want to talk?
Go for it.
Okay, back in the 1970s, my husband and I went with my sister and her husband and another couple to Haiti to a resort that the company that I worked for owned, and we had spent a week in Haiti and in a gated resort. The people were delightful. We never had any problem with the people. No fears at that time. We enjoyed our week there. We had our driver take us to a voodoo ceremony, and it may have been a show. I don't know, but it felt very real to me. Where they walked on glass and they walked on fire and they went out into the water and screamed and yelled and, supposedly got rid of demons. So it was an interesting trip in that respect. So.
Well, random trivia for you. So when the United States took over Haiti and installed a government in Haiti, do you know who wrote the Constitution for the Haitian Republic?
I do not know.
Franklin Roosevelt.
Is that right?
Yep.
Huh.
Wrote the Constitution.
Well, that's interesting.
He worked for or under Woodrow Wilson, who sent the Marines in, citing the.
So he was not even. Excuse me, I'm sorry, Eric. I was just saying he was not even president at that time.
No,
right?
he wasn't. So he was working for Woodrow Wilson, who sent the Marines in, and was commissioned to draft the Constitution for the nation.
Huh. Well, that is interesting. I didn't know that.
Yep. Random odd bit of trivia. Well, listen, thank you for sharing that. And for those of you who don't know, in the early 1900s, the United States did go in and take over Haiti. They sent in the Marines. They propped up a government. There was a rebellion. Let me give you facts. What the United States did for Haiti. We built what amounts to 1,700 kilometers of roads. We built 189 bridges. We rehabilitated all irrigation canals. We built hospitals and schools. We built many of the public buildings, and we cleaned the drinking water and began piping it into the cities and began building the sewer system. We improved dramatically Haiti. And then, of course, they had a big rebellion, and we left. We left in 1934. And then, they got a dictator and had a series of dictators ever since. Y'all, we gotta get serious about the Monroe Doctrine again. This is in our backyard, right next to Cuba. We've done it before. There's American precedent. Both Woodrow Wilson and Bill Clinton. We should be going into Haiti and dealing with this particular issue. Now, back to the phones. I'm going to go to Zach. You're up next. Welcome to the show.
Hey, Eric. Just wanted to get your take on our government and TikTok. Why is our government so set on banning TikTok or having them sell when the same government It's giving the Chinese government billions of dollars through trade and also allowing them to buy thousands of acres here on U.S. soil.
Oh, good questions. So let's take the first one on the trade issue. I don't think the trade issue is in the same category as the land and TikTok, because the trade issue is basically American corporations getting things cheaper out of China than they can get out of us. If we could get things cheaper from somewhere else, we should. In fact, we should be ally shoring using India, Taiwan, Vietnam, and others than China, which I hope will happen. But that has a lot to do more with corporate America than the United States. Now, on the land issue, I got a problem with China buying land. The problem here in that particular issue is there's a constitutional issue regarding the states and the federal government. So there are some states that have begun to prohibit China from buying land in states. There's a question as to whether or not the United States can actually do that in land, because property rights are actually a power of the state governments, not a power of the federal government. I suspect there's a national security issue. There is legislation pending in Congress, and it too has bipartisan support, but they have to deal with this constitutional issue of, can the federal government of the United States prohibit the sale of land from states, which are semi-sovereign entities? Several states have already done it, Florida being one of them. But there actually is a real constitutional issue. So now the issue of TikTok itself, there's not a constitutional issue. There are some people in the pay of China and TikTok saying it's a free speech issue, but it's not a free speech issue, because the government is not exercising control over the content of the platform. The government is seeking to impose control over where the data is stored. And all of the data for TikTok is routed through communist China. Every single bit and byte and megabyte and gigabit of data goes through communist China. Now, for example, let me compare and contrast Apple to TikTok. China has a law, a national security law, that if you want to do business in China, the data of the Chinese must go through servers in China that the Chinese government has access to. So what Apple has done as its compromise issue is, if you have an account with Apple and you live in mainland China, all of your iCloud data is saved there. But if you are not in China, your data is not routed through China, and specifically never goes through China to protect you. With TikTok, however, 100% of the data goes through China. All of the data is served on Chinese servers. So if you record a video on TikTok, that video is processed through China. Every little bit of it. Not only that, TikTok, unlike Apple, unlike Facebook, unlike Twitter, by the way, Twitter and Facebook, they're not even allowed in mainland China now. They used to be. Facebook walked out on its own, but everybody else shut down, and China chased everybody out. So TikTok is the only social media platform, and even the Chinese don't allow TikTok in its current form to be operating in China, but 100% of the data is routed through China. Not only that, TikTok has had to give China the algorithm, so the Chinese understand how TikTok works. I mentioned this yesterday from the Wall Street Journal. You want to know how China uses and leverages the algorithm in TikTok? For every single pro-Israel video you will see on TikTok, do you know how many pro-Hamas videos you will see? 69. Average TikTok user sees 69 pro-Hamas videos for every one pro-Israel video. That's staggering. All right, let's go down to Edgewater, Florida, and talk to Eric. Welcome to the show, Eric.
Great show.
Thank you.
Great topics today. I just wanted to see if you noticed the trend. About 5 or 6 years ago, we had the director of the FBI, James Comey, tell us that, yes, Hillary Clinton performed felonies, but she didn't mean to. Now we have Joe Biden. Yes, he committed crimes, but he didn't mean to. Now here in Jacksonville, just this week, unfortunately, this girl who was bullying another girl in school caught up with her, bashed her head into the wall, killed her. Now her lawyer's like, but she didn't mean to kill her. Should Donald Trump just come out and say, I didn't mean to do anything that you're charging me for? Or should a drunk driver say, I didn't mean to drive drunk and kill that person? I mean, what's going on in America? Maybe you can tell us.
Isn't it remarkable how this is? By the way, I don't know if you've seen the montage, and I would play it, except it's got some profanity in it. When Robert Mueller said he wasn't exonerating Donald Trump in his report, despite essentially saying there's nothing prosecutable here, I'm not exonerating him. The media went overboard with, look, he didn't exonerate him. He didn't exonerate him. There's no exoneration. None. No exoneration. Robert Hur said in Congress under oath that he did not exonerate Joe Biden. And the media's like, well, nothing to see here. All done. No big deal. Nothing to see here. He exonerated Joe Biden. He didn't. He said he didn't, but he did because he's not going to prosecute him. This is absurd. It is genuinely absurd. Double standard, and Eric captures it. What's going on? If you're a Democrat and you come out and say, well, not my fault, I'm sorry, it's no big deal. You want to hear the latest I'm sorry, by the way? This is the latest I'm sorry out there.
In 2021, though, you did say that inflation was transitory. Do you regret saying that now?
I regret saying it was transitory. It has come down, but I think transitory means a few weeks or months to most people.
That's Janet Yellen. Now, interestingly, the White House is a little bit perturbed with Janet Yellen saying that on CNBC. The reason, or she was on Fox Business rather, the reason they're perturbed is because the White House has been saying, when called out on transitory, they say, well, inflation's come down. It was clearly transitory. Even though it lasted way longer than they expected, they're saying because inflation rate has come down, it clearly was transitory. We were right. And now here comes Janet Yellen, the Secretary of the Treasury, who also used the word transitory and says, well, I don't think you can actually say it's transitory, and I'm sorry, I regret using the word, because for most people, transitory means a few weeks, a few months, and it lasted way longer. And so she is deeply off the White House message, and the result of this is the anger and fury at the White House for her saying what she said and recognizing she shouldn't have said it. Now, side note here, Janet Yellen is a progressive. Janet Yellen is a liberal economist, and Janet Yellen is so tired of having to navigate the politics of the White House because she likes to call it as she sees it, and she's ready to leave the White House. She said she would stay on for Biden's reelection, and the moment he's reelected, if he is, she intends to resign. Interesting. The way that works for her. She likes to be a straight shooter, even if you disagree with her politics. And the fact she's willing to say, well, we shouldn't have said transitory after all, when the White House has been defending it, really puts her off White House message and puts her in the doghouse. Oh, well. Now, I got to tell you about Hillsdale College. You want to learn to love America again? Hillsdale College believes in America, believes in the American constitutional system, believes in federalism, and they want to share their belief and their love of this country with you through a series of classes and courses you can take at Hillsdale College and a series of lectures. And right now they've got a great one from Victor Davis Hanson. All you have to do is go to Eric, E-R-I-C-K, ericforhillsdale.com and sign up, and that Victor Davis Hanson, the renowned military historian, will walk you through what it means to be a citizen, the decline of citizenship, how to restore and revitalize citizenship, the significance historically of citizenship. You learn it all from Victor Davis Hanson. You can take the classes at your own pace and start developing a long-term relationship with Hillsdale College today. All you do is go to Eric, E-R-I-C-K, ericforhillsdale.com, ericforhillsdale.com. Go sign up with Hillsdale College. Begin your relationship with them today. Take Victor Davis Hanson's series of lectures at your own pace. It is worth it. It really is worth it. He's easy to understand. He's not over your head, but he's thorough and in-depth. ericforhillsdale.com. Go start your relationship with Hillsdale College today. Welcome. It is Eric Erickson here. The phone number, 877-973-7425. Should you wish to be on the phone. I knew this was coming. I knew it was coming. I wanted to wait to be able to tell you that it happened. This is important breaking news for those of you in the state of Georgia. The House of Representatives in the state of Georgia has just passed school choice. I was tipped off last night the vote would come today. They had the votes. They needed 91 to pass it. It passed 91 to 82. It will go back to the Senate of the state of Georgia for concurrence because it sat out a session. The Senate has already passed it. The Senate has the votes again. It is a Senate piece of legislation, the Georgia Promise Scholarship Act. Governor Brian Kemp has decided that he will sign it into law. There were a number of Republicans. Who opposed it, but they got enough to make it happen. The Georgia Promise Scholarship Act, it will become law in the state of Georgia. Georgia becomes the latest state to pass school choice. Congratulations to Speaker Burns in the House of Representatives, who was willing to put his weight behind it. It's great to have a Speaker of the House of the state of Georgia willing to back school choice. And he did. I got to tell you, I was a big critic of the former Speaker of the House in Georgia. And I have thus far been impressed with Speaker Burns in the State House. We've had our disagreements, but they haven't been significant, and he has been willing to use his clout to get the Republicans to go right instead of left. And I'm impressed with that. This is exciting news for me. Y'all know how much I've talked about this in Georgia. I'm kind of overwhelmed at the moment to see this day has finally come. The state legislature in Georgia finally supporting school choice. 91 to 82. All the Democrats, it seems, voted against it. God bless them for doing that. This makes me happy. Yes, Georgians, school choice is coming to your state. It's not, honestly, a significant piece of legislation. It's really not. But it is. It's just, gosh. And thanks, Brian Kemp. Brian Kemp yesterday threw his support behind it and said that this was the year this was going to happen, and we weren't going to wait again. So school choice just passed the state house in Georgia. It'll go back to the Senate where it has the votes. It'll be signed by Governor Kemp. This is a great day in the state legislature in Georgia.